The reason I'm in SF today is because there's like this new statue that like went in front of the ferry building that I want to see because I saw it online and it's like really big and I want to see if it's like really that big in real life. But first I stopped by a Seco. I go to that bakery like all the time when I come to SF. I'm gonna be really vulnerable and say I don't know how to say this bakery's name. And clearly others don't know either because it's a second top thing on Google when you search this bakery. Allegedly, it's pronounced Arisaleh. But that sounds super wrong. I'm gonna keep going with the Seco unless someone who speaks French corrects me. And today they didn't have chocolate almond croissant, which is like really disappointing because that one's my favorite. So got 2 chocolate croissants and a ham and cheese croissant. So I'll be interested to see like if this ham and cheese croissant is as good as this like croissant I got at this bakery in Paris last year. But first, before going to the ferry building, I'm gonna stop by Golden Gate Park, and the wind is crazy. So that's why my hair keeps flying. Now at Asico, there's no places to sit. They don't have tables. So what I've seen people do is that they'll go to the place next door, buy a cup of coffee, and then eat their pastries there. What I've started doing is going to Golden Gate Park because it's not very far from Asico. It's about a 16-minute walk to get there. And here is proof from Google. Okay, sometimes it could be 17 minutes. It just depends which way you go, but it's not that far. At Golden Gate Park, I was able to find a bench to go and eat my chocolate almond croissant and my ham and cheese croissant. The croissants are like nice and flaky and buttery. The chocolate croissant, in it, there were 2 bars of chocolate. You know, it's a pretty like standard like chocolate croissant. I'm gonna keep going back to it. The chocolate almond croissant there is like the best. Like it's like filled with like almond paste and like lots of chocolate. So like if you want to try it, you have to go to the bakery like really early. And today I tried the ham and cheese croissant. That was honestly like really good. So now I know that if they don't have chocolate almond croissant, I will settle for the ham and cheese croissant. It was like filled with like a lot of ham and cheese, and I loved it. It's pretty good. As I was sitting there eating my croissant, I started thinking about how people act like croissants like so chic because oh, it's French, but it's like a really messy food because the flakes go everywhere. It was in my hair, it was on my arm, it was on my leg, just everywhere croissant flakes. And I started thinking like, oh, like if you were a bird, you probably like would love croissants because like there'd be all this leftover stuff on the ground. It really was the perfect day at Golden Gate Park. The weather was nice and warm, but not too hot. There was also this exuberance in the air. People were out and about, spending time with their family and friends, and just soaking in that California sunshine and enjoying all the nature that is present there at the park. The sphinxes in front of the De Young pay homage to the museum's roots, though they are not the original sphinxes. The original museum was made for the California Midwinter International Exposition of 1894, which was a World's Fair. It came about as M.H. de Young was inspired by the Chicago's World's Fair and felt an exposition would bring an economic boost to California. The original museum was in the style of Egyptian Revival, since at the time there was a great fascination with ancient Egypt. The structure would end up getting damaged in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. They would end up doing repairs for a year and a half, only for it to be demolished in 1929. The museum we see today opened in 2005. Connecting back to the World's Fair, the vintage vase by Gustave Doré was exhibited at the Paris World's Fair. M.H. de Young would purchase it to show it at the California Midwinter International Exposition. Here is a photo of the original Sphinx in front of the original building next to the vintage vase. To get to the ferry building from the De Young, I decided to take a Waymo. If you haven't heard of Waymo before, it's essentially like a self-driving version of Uber. There is no one in the driver's seat driving the car. The Waymo drives very well. It's very smooth. You don't feel like hesitancy in the driving at all. It's able to make lane changes and even notice when there are pedestrians crossing the street. After about a 40-minute Waymo ride, I finally made it to the ferry building to complete my mission of seeing this brand new statue. To be completely honest, when I first saw photos of this statue, I thought it was fake. I thought it was some photoshopped image. I wonder how many people came to the ferry building to see this new statue for themselves. The sculpture was made by artist Marco Cochrane. It first was shown at Burning Man, and then later Washington, D.C. wanted to have the statue, but those plans fell through. There are also talks of having the statue be at San Francisco's Union Square, but that idea had to get scrapped due to the safety concerns of this statue, because since it weighs so much, there was concerns that it might cause the tile at Union Square to collapse. And so it ended up in front of the ferry building. The statue is called Our Evolution. It's supposed to represent female strength and empowerment. And at night, it lights up. Though San Francisco is a politically liberal city, this statue going up is not without controversy. As in a KQED article by Sarah Hotchkiss, there's a line that says, "As I gazed at this monumental steel and mesh sculpture on Thursday, I felt embarrassed for the city of San Francisco." And one thing to note is this is not going to be a permanent fixture in front of the ferry building. It's a temporary art installation that will be there for 6 months and could be renewed to be there for another 6 months. And it was funded by the Siege Brandage Foundation. And interestingly, to get it up there, they just had to write 3 emails to the San Francisco Recreation and Parks. It never went through any review by the public on whether or not they wanted this statue. And with its placement, if you look between her legs, you get a pretty good shot of the ferry building. After seeing the nude statue, I went to the ferry building and then went and looked at the water. I then went for a walk along the Embarcadero, where I ultimately made my way to Fisherman's Wharf. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the statue. You should also check out my video on England's Hampton Court and my trip to Versailles. Hope to see you in the next video.